In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to build websites and web applications with Blazor. Now, Blazor is a relatively new technology from Microsoft that allows you to build rich, interactive websites and web applications. It can also be used to build Blazor apps that work on Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and Linux. I think now is a really great time to start learning Blazor because it looks like Microsoft will be supporting it and improving it a lot over the next few years. This means that there are going to be more and more developer jobs that are looking for people that know Blazor. There are also a lot of tutorials and templates you can find on places like GitHub, Stack Overflow, and YouTube, so there are plenty of places to get help. I've also put some notes in the description for this video, which you should find helpful. Let's get started by showing you what you need to install on your computer. So we scroll down. And we click Explore Tools for .NET. Now, if you're a Windows user, then you're going to want to install Visual Studios. If you're a Mac user, you're going to want to download Visual Studios for Mac. It will look slightly different because it's on a different operating system, but you shouldn't have any problem following along with the tutorial. We'll click Download Visual Studios. Once it's downloaded, we'll launch the exe. Then we'll select the ASP.NET and web development option. There are many other workloads you can include with Visual Studios depending on what you want to develop, but for now we'll just stick with the web development settings. Then we'll click Install. Give that some time to download. And once it's completed, Visual Studios will launch automatically. Now that we've got Visual Studios installed, let's open Visual Studios and start a project with the Blazor template. So we'll click Create New Project. Now you can see here that there are many different types of templates available here. And that's because Visual Studios is a very powerful piece of software that can be used to create pretty much any type of software that you would need. But for now, we're going to search for Blazor. We're going to select the Blazor WebAssembly app. Now, the Blazor Server app is a similar technology, but is slightly more complicated. So we're going to want to make sure we've got the WebAssembly app selected. Now, if these two options aren't available when you search for Blazor, then please check the description in this video. So we'll select the Blazor WebAssembly app. We'll click Next. We'll give the project a name. We'll click Next. We'll keep these settings as they are. And then we'll click Create Project. When you start a new project using the Blazor WebAssembly template, it comes pre-installed with some files and folders, which you can see here in the Solution Explorer. It also comes pre-installed with 3 pages to highlight some of the features of Blazor, which we're going to take a look at now. Make sure that you've got the option selected with whatever you've named your project. So I didn't change the name, so we've got Blazor App 10. Make sure that is selected. The web browser, you're probably going to want to have Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge selected, and then run the application. So I'm going to close this diagnostic window. And if the Solution Explorer disappears when you run your application, then just go to View and select Solution Explorer here. The home page of our website can be seen here. We've just got some text and a little grey box here. We've got a counter page, which is at the /counter address. And we've got a button, and every time the button is clicked, that gets recorded here. Then we've got a fetch data page at the /fetch data address, which just displays some weather data in a table. Now that we've had a look at the 3 pages, let's try and understand how a page is constructed. As we've looked at, there are 3 pages on our website, and these 3 pages correspond to the 3 Razor files we can see here in the pages folder. So we've got counter.razor, fetchdata.razor, and index.razor. Let's take a look at the counter page. A Razor page is made up of HTML tags, which are used to display images, text, tables, links to other pages, etc. on your page. CSS, which is used to style your page, specify the font, add colors, things like that. And then there's C# code, which is used to add functionality and interactivity to the page. If you've never used HTML before, then I would recommend spending 20 to 30 minutes reading a basic tutorial, and I've put one in the description of this video, which is the one I would recommend. So take a look at that and then come back to this part of the video. Let's go line by line and try and understand how the counter page was constructed. On line 1, we've got the @page directive and then the string /counter. This is used to specify the address of our page. So here we have /counter, and the page is accessed at the /counter address. On line 3, we've got the page title tag, which is used to specify the title of our page, which we can see here in the browser tab. On line 5, we've got H1 or heading tag, which is used to display the counter heading on our page. On line 7, we've got a P or paragraph tag, which is used to display the text current count, and then a variable here, which is the number of times the button was clicked. Now you can see on line 12, we've got a variable, which is an integer or number variable called current count, which is set to 0. And this is used to track the number of times the button has been clicked. And whenever we want to display a variable in our page, we just put @ and then the variable name. On line 9, we've got a button tag, which has the text click me. And the most important feature of this is the on-click event. Now, there are many different types of events you can have on a Razor page, but in this case, this is used to specify what we want to happen when the button is clicked. So on click, we want to call the code called increment count. And you can see on line 15 through 18, we've got a method, which is a block of code, and that takes in our current count variable and adds 1 to it. So every time the button is clicked, this piece of code is called, and the variable is increased by 1, which is being displayed in the paragraph tag here. Now that we've seen how a Razor page works and we've had a look at the counter page, let's make a few changes and see how those changes are reflected in the browser. Firstly, let's add another page directive. So this change should allow us to access our page through either the /counter address or the /another page address. Next, let's try changing the page title. We could also try changing the heading. And we could also try changing what happens when the button is clicked. So instead of increasing the value by 1, let's make it increase by 5 each time. The current count variable is equal to whatever the current value is plus 5. Lastly, let's change the starting value of the current count variable to 10. So now, when the page first loads, it should say current count is 10. Now that we've made these changes, let's restart our application and have a look. We can see the title has changed on our page. The heading has changed. The count is now 10 when the page loads. And every time we click the button, it increases by 5. Since we've made this other change here, we should also be able to access our page by typing another page. Next, let's take a look at the home page. So often the home page of a website is also called the index page, and that's why we have index.razor as the page name and not home.razor. On line 1, we have the @page directive, and in this case we've just got a /. And that's because this is the home page of our website. It's the first page we want to appear when someone visits our website. On line 3, we've got the page title tag, which is used to display index here in the browser. On line 5, we've got a heading tag, which is used to display hello world here. And on line 7, we've just got some text, which is displayed here. Then on line 9, we've got the survey prompt tag. Is used to display the grey box here with the text and the link in it here. Now, you might have noticed that our HTML tags are highlighted in blue and that the survey prompt tag is highlighted in green. That's because this is not actually a HTML tag. It's a Razor component that is actually part of our project. Now, Razor components are .razor files, just like the pages that we've been looking at, but they're meant to be inserted within pages. Let's say, for example, that you wanted to create an error message with a red background that comes up whenever an error happens on your website. Instead of having to copy and paste the HTML and CSS code onto all of the pages of your website where you might have an error message, you could create a component called, say, errormessage.razor and put that HTML code in there, and then any page where you would want to show an error message, you could insert it into that page just by typing error message. Just like with the survey prompt component that we've got here. This is good practice because as a developer, you don't want to be copying and pasting the same code into multiple places in your project. Also, in the future, if you decided you wanted your error message to have, say, a dark blue background, you would only need to change the component instead of having to edit multiple pages. Let's take a look at how this survey prompt component is constructed. So it's stored in the survey prompt.razor file, which we can see here in the shared folder. Just like with the pages, we've got some HTML tags and some code. The only difference is we don't have a page directive as the first line, and that's because this component is meant to be inserted within pages. Now, on line 1, we've got a div, which is used to display the grey box, which we can see here. We've got a span element, which is used to display the pencil icon here. We've got a strong tag, which displays the bold text here. We've got another span, which is used to display this text and the link here. Now we can see that just like with the counter page, we've got a variable, except in this case, it's a string or text variable and not a number variable like the current count variable. And this title variable is displayed here in bold. The only difference is that we have the parameter attribute above it. And the parameter attribute is used to specify that the value of this variable is passed into the component by the page that references it. So if we take a look at the index.razor file, we can see here that we declare the survey prompt, just like with the other HTML tags. And then we specify the value of the title variable that is passed into the component, stored in the title variable, and then it's displayed here. Now let's learn a little bit more about how components work by creating the error message component that I mentioned earlier. So we'll stop our application running. We'll right click on the shared folder. We'll click add, Razor component, name it error message, and click add. The first thing we need to do is create a red box to put our error message in. Now in this tutorial, because I'm mainly going to focus on Blazor, I'm not going to go into details with things like HTML and CSS. But one of the things I want to mention briefly is that a new Blazor template comes installed with a library called Bootstrap that has a lot of pre-made, well-designed components like buttons, text boxes, pop-ups, etc. that you can use on your website. Now, I've put some more info about this in the description of this video. So let's go to the Bootstrap documentation and grab the HTML code for the error message. This is the website getbootstrap.com, and you can see here all of the different components that you can use. So if you wanted to insert this drop down on your page, you would just copy this code and paste it into your Razor page or Razor component. but we're going to grab the alert. We want the red one, which is this one here. So we'll copy that and we'll paste it into the component that we created. Next, we need to create an error message. Instead of just writing a generic error message like an error occurred, we can create a string variable to hold whatever message we want, and that can be changed depending on what page we're on and what the error message is. Just like with the title variable that we had on the survey prompt component, we'll create a variable for the error message. So it has to be public, it's a string, we'll name it message. And because the actual message is going to be passed into the component from whatever page we're on, we need to put a parameter tag above the variable. Then to display this message, we just need to put @ and then the variable name. Let's quickly test our new component by inserting it into the home page. So we just put error message, and then we put message, but since these components are reusable, we could even have 2 error messages. And we could also even insert it on another page. So let's go to the fetch data page, and let's just insert it here at the top. Now let's run our application and take a look. You can see here, the component has been inserted twice. Once with this message and once with this message. Then if we check the fetch data page, again, we've also got the component. The next thing I want to discuss is the main layout file. Now you might have noticed that the pages that we've been looking at only contain the code for the bit of our website with the white background. For example, here and here. But we've also got these parts of our website that are common to every page. That is the navigation menu, which we can see here, and also the grey bar at the top of the page with the about link in. The code for these parts of our website are stored in the main layout.razor file, which we can see in the shared folder. Now, a layout file is where you put all of the HTML and CSS that you want to be visible on every page of your website. For example, if we wanted to add a footer to our website with, for example, copyright information, maybe a link to an FAQ page, then since we want that footer to appear on all of our pages, we would put it in the layout file. Let's take a look at the main layout.razor file and see how it is constructed. On lines 4 through 6, we've got the code, the HTML tags for the navigation menu here. And you can see that since the nav menu component here is highlighted in green, that is actually a Razor component, just like the error message.razor component we created. And that can be seen here in the navmenu.razor file, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Then on line 9, we've got this div and a link, which is used to display this grey box at the top of the page. And lastly, and most importantly, we've got the body tag, which is on line 14. And the body tag is used to specify where you want the code for your pages to be inserted. Let's say, for example, we visited the counter page. All of the HTML for the main layout file would be rendered on the screen. And where the body tag is, the code from our counter.razor file would be inserted. This is something we can verify by using the inspect tool in Google Chrome. If we right click on this button and press inspect, here we have the HTML code that the browser has used to render our page. And if we click inspect on the navigation menu, here we can see the div class equals page, which corresponds to line 3. Here we can see the div, which corresponds to line 4. And if we open the main tag, which corresponds to this tag here, and then we open the article tag, which corresponds to this tag here, we can see the code from our counter page has been inserted where the body tag was. This bit has been replaced with the HTML code that was on the counter page. The last thing I want to do is show you how to add a new page to the project and then include that page in the navigation menu. So we'll stop our application running. We'll right click on the pages folder. We'll click add and then click raise a component. We'll give it a name. The first thing we want to do is add a page directive to specify the address of our new page. We'll call it a new page. We'll add a paragraph tag with some text. And the last thing we need to do is include this page in our navigation menu. Now, when we were looking at the main layout page, I mentioned that the nav menu is actually a Razor component, which corresponds to the navmenu.razor file. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time looking into this page, as it's something that we can look at in more detail in another video. Just to show you that if you wanted to add a new link to your navigation menu, each one of these 3 blocks here corresponds to the navigation links on our menu. So we can see this is the home page, this is the counter page, and this is the fetch data page. So we'll copy this code, we'll paste it below, we'll change the href, which is to specify the address of our new page, and then we'll change the text here, which is what is displayed in the navigation menu. Now let's run our application and take a look. We can see we've got a new item added to the navigation menu. We'll click it. We can see the address is a new page. And we can see the HTML that we added to our new page has been drawn here. I'm going to end the video there. I hope you found it useful. Please give it a like if you did. I'll be releasing a part 2, which will show you how to build a more detailed interactive page and also show you a bit more of HTML and C#. So please follow the channel and look out for that. If you have any problems, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try and get back to you. And make sure to check the description of this video, as I've added some useful notes and places where you can learn more about Blazor.